It's Musical Talk, the UK's independent musical theatre podcast. Hello and welcome to another edition of Musical Talk. I'm Thos and I was delighted to discover only recently that the great Hollywood actor Charles Bronson found time during his really quite extensive career to record a Christmas album. It seems a most unusual juxtaposition when you consider the kind of roles he's most associated with. But whilst I don't know what was actually on the album, I wonder if it might have included songs such as the Dirty Dozen Days of Christmas, featuring, of course, the magnificent Seven Swans a Swimming, and, of course, that slightly odd song, We Death Wish You a Merry Christmas. Well, as you can tell, I've let what little hair I have down because it's the festive season. And here on Musical Talk, we like to mark that with what we call our Merry Quizmas and a Happy New Earful Christmas episode. And what that normally involves, and it will again today, is me asking a whole bunch of questions relating to musical theatre and musical films. And before giving you the answers to each question and moving on to the next question, we play some of the songs that you could have heard here on Musical Talk this year and in recent years. Now, in real terms, if you've done this before, you'll know that the quiz isn't really what this is about. In some senses, it's just a very happy meander through the world of musical theatre, with a few songs thrown in. And what could be more fun for someone who loves musical theatre and films? And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm rather hoping you're going to fall into that category. If not, be off with you! Good, it's just us left, everyone. So I might as well get us going immediately. Now, last week I mentioned a song from the wonderful show from 1963, She Loves Me, which is a musical with a book by Joe Masteroff and with music and lyrics by Bock and Harnick. That's Jerry Bock and Sheldon Harnick. Now, it's based on a 1937 Hungarian play, but of course it's got that lovely 1963 Broadway treatment and therefore feels very interesting as a piece. It's very European in its tone and feel, but of course it has the pep and brio of a Golden Age American score. It is a great show and I love it very much indeed. But that Hungarian play from 1937 had already been turned into a musical once before, which is before She Loves Me in 1963. I'll give you a clue, it was turned into a musical film. But what was it called? And that is the first question. And if that was the first question, and we're still awaiting the first answer, it must be time for the first song. And what better than an opening number? I've played it here before a number of times this year, and I'm going to play it again. I make no apologies for that. It's the absolutely wonderful upbeat opening number, the eponymous opening number, if you will, from Potty the Plant. And here it is.
It's a beautiful day, and it might be cliche. I feel like everything is gonna be okay. My life's like a dream. I just want to be seen with my leaves looking green. Oh, and lean. The kids are out to play. They chase the clouds away. The sun's come out to say hey.
Hello!
Hello, 'cause I am Potty the Plant. Come and take my hand. We'll go on adventures in a faraway land. I am Potty the Plant. I'm not one to be missed. We'll learn to exist, flourish and sun-kissed. I am Potty the Plant. Oh, such a beautiful day.
When all your worries seem far away,
I feel so excited.
Potty, I'm delighted.
Everything's okay today. Hey, I'm Potty the Plant. Come and take my hand. We'll go on adventures in a faraway land. I am Potty the Plant. I'm not one to be missed. We'll learn to exist, flourish and sun-kissed. I am Potty the Plant. I am Potty the Plant. I am Potty the Plant.
And there we are, the opening number from Potty the Plant. And the question, if you remember, was the 1963 musical She Loves Me was based on a 1937 Hungarian play which had already been turned into a musical film before. But what was the film called? And the answer was In the Good Old Summertime, which is an MGM film musical from 1949 starring Van Johnson and Judy Garland. Now, bearing in mind it's called In the Good Old Summertime, they managed to squeeze in a Christmas song, hoping to cash in on it, and it must be said it's one of the least famous, least revived Christmas songs I can think of. It's called Merry Christmas, and there may be a good reason that it's not as popular as all that, featuring as it does rhymes like this: So be jolly, have a holiday as gay as holly. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that Charles Bronson, the famous Hollywood actor, who's very much not associated with singing, produced a Christmas album. And that inspires the next question. Because the film In the Good Old Summertime features an actor who's not associated with musicals in any way. And yet, this person appeared in quite a few, including the Hollywood Review of 1929, Easy to Wed, another film starring Van Johnson, this time with the slightly moist Esther Williams, the famous swimmer. Take Me Out to the Ball Game, featuring no less than Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra. You're My Everything, with the very talented Anne Baxter. Pajama Party, which featured Dorothy Lamour. And A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, by Stephen Sondheim. So the question is, what is the name of this performer who appeared in so many musicals and yet is not someone you would associate with singing? In fact, I'll give you a clue. I don't think you'd associate him with talking. Who is he? And to give you the obligatory thinking time, let's hear a song from Asher Muldoon. This was a song from his 2023 Edinburgh Fringe show, Mine, a ghost story musical. And what a brilliant show that was. And this song's called Go West, Young Man.
Hold for the mesa to awaken. Up come crags and crannies from the dirt red sea. Cold has no effect on tint or shadow. Like the world has made itself look good for me. Some reprieve from my tiny frame of reference is all I'm looking for. Is it naive for me to wonder if the world could be like this but more? Better you go west, young man. Better you go west, young man. I'm so tired of the sea of 2D faces. Is it asking too much to want something real? So I'll hide in the great wide open spaces, at least till humankind can figure out its deal. Just to drive over the beltway to the Badlands where the air is clear. I can survive with a couple sets of clothes and what I got up here. Better you go west, young man. Better you go west, young man. Better you go west, young man.
What a haunting and wonderful song that is by Asher Muldoon from his musical Mine, a ghost story musical. Now, the question was, of course, what was the name of the actor not associated with singing, not even associated with talking, at least in films, who appeared in a huge number of musical films? Well, the answer was Buster Keaton, most associated, I think, with his career, his stellar career, during the silent era of Hollywood. However, he turns up in the 1949 film In the Good Old Summertime, although sort of by accident, because actually he'd been hired by the director to come up with a stunt for the film, but in the end it was so ingenious and indeed difficult that only he could perform it, so they had to put him in the film. That's very clever, really, isn't it? Particularly as it was an MGM film, and it was his first film for MGM since they fired him in 1931. Quite an impressive story all round, that one. Anyway, one of the films that Buster Keaton was in, albeit in a cameo, was Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And in that film, MGM interpolated a cut song from Oklahoma. Yes, Oklahoma by Rodgers and Hammerstein. It had a cut song, and they were going to give it to Frank Sinatra, one of the stars of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. But it was again cut, this time from the film. But do you know what the name of the song was? I hope so, because that's the question. And whilst you're thinking about it, or feverishly researching it on your mobile telephone, other electrical devices are available, let's hear another piece of music. A song once again from the 2023 Edinburgh Festival Fringe, from the show called Lies All the Way Down. This is a live recording called The Poplars, written by the very talented Shay Polton Richards, and sung by Emily Proudlock.
Crossroads and walk down the lane. The street lined with oak trees and daisies remain. Soon I'd be feeling the rareness of being at ease, like when I filled the days running bare feet on grass. Cousins and friends would spend weekends with us, and just like back then, you're still standing tall, but you're not the same. Where are the poplars we said that we'd climb? Where are the dens that you swore would stay mine? I hope that the tree house is still in the back, but I won't ever check, 'cause I don't know how I would react. Why do things all change? They stay but not the same. I remember when I would run around and scream and never think of what was next. We lived on our own time. And I remember when I would crawl among the grass, an agent who was on a quest. We'd stay out till twilight. And I remember all the tears when we finally had to say goodbye. I remember all the hurt morning years we'd never get inside. And I don't know what is worse, how it's not ours to decide, or the fact that if we had, we might be living different lives. And I can't see the poplars we said that we'd climb, cut short like the stories we'd have with more time. The topiary mould of the elephant head is no longer a presence, and all that remains driveway and walk down the lane. The house that I loved just a moment again. But I won't forget all the memories we made while we could. Though I'll miss the pots that used to be mine, the new seed is sprouting which someone will climb. I don't think the tree house is still in the back. The wood would have rot from the roof that it lacked. But I won't ever check, 'cause you live in my childhood intact.
Well, we don't often get to talk about cut songs by Rodgers and Hammerstein, but here's one that had a very checkered history. If you remember, the question was, what was the name of the song that was originally cut from Oklahoma by Rodgers and Hammerstein, only to be included in Take Me Out to the Ball Game to be sung by Frank Sinatra, but was cut again before the film was released? Well, the song was called Boys and Girls Like You and Me. And it is an early piece by Rodgers and Hammerstein, as I say, for Oklahoma. Now, it has a bit of a checkered history, because it's ultimately ended up in the score of Rodgers and Hammerstein's television musical, Cinderella. That's now sometimes produced on stage, and sometimes, but not always, the song Boys and Girls Like You and Me is included in it, but not always. So it hasn't really found a birth. But it almost did, and this is the next question. Because it was also going to be included in another film. And once again, although it was filmed, it was cut before the final version of the film was released. We've identified the name of the song. Now what is the name of this film in which it didn't make an appearance? And for our next song, while you're thinking about it, it's the welcome return of Sith Lord Kink, one of the great songs by Glenn Clark and George Gem, a very, very talented songwriting team that I'd like to hear a lot more from their wonderful Star Wars review, REVUE, The Extras Strike Back. Let's hear George Gem singing it now live.
I accept full responsibility for this failure, and as such, accept any punishment. Willingly. Put out of line, I can make a real mess. You can cut the tension with a knife. You never know who's next to lose their life. Rest in peace, Karen. You can feel the evil when it's in the room. If you stand too close, you can feel your doom. No space to make mistakes in his eyes. No place to run and no place to hide. But what he doesn't know is I get real stoked when he lifts me up with his first toe. Go Lord Vader, tighten your grip, use your lightsaber and not just the tip. You can leave the mask on, I don't mind, then do some force push from behind. Never release me, my Sith Lord King. What can I do to the naughty boy? Oh, I can press the button that says don't touch. Gonna test my name, it's gonna try my luck. Oh no! The red princess got away. mine. I've got no limits to go much further, so slap me good and say, I am your father. Tell me you're giving, then you're giving. I'm all the end, but what I'm giving. Oh, Lord.
Sith Lord Kink, peerlessly performed by George Gem and written by Glenn Clark and George Gem. If you get a chance to see them in their cabaret or anything else they do try and catch them. Well worth it. But the question was, the song Boys and Girls Like You and Me, written for Oklahoma by Rodgers and Hammerstein and then cut, added to Take Me Out to the Ball Game and then cut, ultimately placed in Cinderella, but not always, so sometimes cut, see what I'm doing here, was also cut from another film. And what was the name of that film? Well, it featured Judy Garland and it was Meet Me in St. Louis. Rather sadly, although it was known to have been actually filmed, the footage has been lost. But Judy Garland did record it on an album, which was released later that year in 1944, which is how it ultimately got to the ears of the public. So that poor song has been cut from one show and 2 films, and even now isn't always included in the final show that it's been allocated to. So take heart. If it can happen to Rodgers and Hammerstein, it can happen to anyone. Now, going back to Take Me Out to the Ball Game, that film features a representation of an American president, all very topical at the time of recording. That president was Teddy Roosevelt, the one who famously spoke softly and carried a big stick. And it's always interesting to see how real-life characters are portrayed in film, particularly politicians, because, of course, opinion is much more divided about politicians than it might be about other celebrities and famous people. And here I'm thinking about the references to Margaret Thatcher in Billy Elliot and the actual appearance of Harold Wilson in Made in Dagenham, 2 prime ministers. But going back to Teddy Roosevelt, he was president when he appeared in Take Me Out to the Ball Game, but he also appeared in another musical in an earlier phase of his career, when he was merely governor of New York. What's the name of that musical? And that's the next question. And here's a lovely song that was cut too. This was a cut song from the Edinburgh Festival Fringe musical Jingle Street. And this is Joe Venable singing it. Singing like a phoenix, in fact.
I've got a tongue like a slug stuck in traffic. I've got a mouth made of mud. I've seen rats in a barn with more natural charm, and all of my songs turn out duds. And I don't even know who Puccini is, but you could maybe make me a genius. I'm pretty janky, all my songs are frankly clanky. I'm sputtering these utterings like bird mess on your guttering. So write me a riff or a rad rapping remix and make me sing like a phoenix. Got a thing of using words incorrectly. It drives me so subcutaneous. I'm a bit concerned where I'd be if Jasmine learned her girlfriend's not the brainiest. And I'm no Gershwin, I'm no Hammerstein, but you could make my half-baked grammar shine. I tend to mangle strangled words I can't untangle. I speak a heap of steaming bull, please help me to be meaningful. My foot's in my mouth, which is so unhygienic, so make me sing like a phoenix. I'm scared she'll leave me tearful if she hears another earful. I make my glass appear full, but it's hard to be cheerful, 'cause I'm past anxious and down towards despairing. She's the one girl on earth who thinks I'm worth sharing. Maybe I'm deluded, this was crazy all along. No more being broody, it's time to write a song. But I'm like a yeti, writing haikus and spaghetti. We'll make you so loquacious, as persuasive as Horatius. 'Cause I'll be writing you such passionate polemics. I don't know what that means. It means we won't need tambourines, 'cause you're gonna sing, 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 sing like a phoenix.
Stop the presses! Because the answer to the question, what is the name of the musical in which Teddy Roosevelt appeared, was, and is, Newsies. But he was only governor of New York in that, not yet president. Now, Teddy Roosevelt died in 1919 and was buried in Oyster Bay, which, if you know anything about musical theatre, and I hope you do, is the home of the hero oyster, yes, the hero oyster, in Cole Porter's song The Tale of the Oyster, which has the wonderful opening line, "Down by the sea lived a lonesome oyster, every day getting sadder and moister." An absolute gem by Cole Porter. But where does the song, The Tale of the Oyster, come from? What is the name of the show? Well, as we've just heard a cut song from the excellent 2023 Ed Fringe show Jingle Street, I thought it would be nice to hear a non-cut song from that same show. So let's do so. This is a song from Jingle Street.
We did a pinky swear. Yes, a pinky swear. The bindingest of promises the two of us share. A pinky swear. Oh, a pinky swear. My pinky would be axed, and that's too awful to bear. I really wish I'd been more cautious, 'cause I'm feeling slightly nauseous. There's shivers all over my spine, 'cause my pinky's on the line.
You know, this really reminds me of a time when I was about 10.
We're doing my thing right now, not yours, so we can settle down.
That's looking grim for you.
I'm driven from my senses. Before today, I never knew my actions would have consequences. Should I be 10-fingered and miserable, or 9-fingered and free? How happy and how fingered should a person wish to be? A foolish pinky swear, a pinky swear, a marital mauling I can't repair. We pinky swore, and now I face life lugging whales off the shore. My wedding ring would clunk around when I want to swing my trunk around. But it's looking hard to decline with my pinky on the line.
There is, of course, one solution.
A solution? Go on, tell me.
You have to marry her if you're single at 30. Those are the terms that you wrote.
Yes, I know the terms, go on.
But if you go down, hit the town, find a lady who's ever so flirty, a romantic flirt.
I marry her, and then Sybil gets back on her boat.
You just need someone as desperate as you.
Oh, Parsley, you're a genius, inspired. Send out scouts, I'll find a spouse. 0 whales required, then no more pinky swear, no pinky swear.
You should go on Tinder, there's women there.
A pinky swear, a pinky swear. A bride with no whales, you've answered my prayer. I'll defuse this pinky bomb. Find a wife on lastminute.com and you'll catch me up there on cloud 9 with my pinky off the line. Ba-dum-bum-da-da-dum-da-da-dum. Yeah. With my pinky off the
The song Pinky Swear from Jingle Street. Now, what was the name of the show from which the song by Cole Porter, The Tale of the Oyster, came from? Well, it came from his 1929 show 50 Million Frenchmen, which was described as a musical comedy tour of Paris in 2 acts. The central character, the person who sings the song The Tale of the Oyster, is a fur buyer, not a character I think you'd include in a musical now, called Violet Hildegard. And she's described as being so worldly wise and weary that she's travelled abroad hoping to be shocked by something. And she's the one who sings the song about the, and I quote, bivalve social climber. But it wasn't the big hit of the show. The big hit song from 50 Million Frenchmen in 1929 was You Do Something to Me. Now, I've mentioned that principal character in that show was called Violet Hildegard. And you may be aware of an enormously influential singer from the 1930s and 40s called Hildegard. Certainly in 1929, people will have known about her being an up-and-coming cabaret singer. She made a lot of records and recorded a lot of songs by the great composers, seemingly particularly Rodgers and Hart. And indeed, why not? And whilst she didn't appear in musicals per se, she was a big cabaret performer of songs from musicals. But she was as famous for being elegantly dressed. And she later in her career accused a very well-known 1970s television singer and actress of stealing her style, and particularly her long satin gloves. Who was the accused? And whilst you're pondering who might have been accused by Hildegard of stealing her gloves, at least as an idea, let's hear a song from the sister show to Jingle Street. This was the wonderful show On Your Bike, about fried chicken shops and bicycle delivery people. And here's a song from it.
When you run a chicken shop, you've got to use your noggin. If KFK start, we'll go down like a letterboggin. Now I'm no spring chicken, but I'm kicking up a fuss, 'cause this street ain't wide enough for both of us. It ain't over till the fat end clocks. But if KFK move here, then we're all plucked. I'm starting a chant, I need you all to repeat and repeat. Don't let the chicken across the street. Don't let the chicken, don't let the chicken. So I'm talking to the neighbours here, stirring opposition, getting the word out. Don't let the chicken. I can't compete, it's too frustrating. They've got ketchup,
Real Coke,
and a hygiene rating. No one likes change, the past is best. Like before we had Ebola and Kanye West. Gotta bring back Woolworths,
pounds and ounces,
penny sweets, and good old-fashioned empty British high streets. I'm running amok and I'm riding my luck. Beyond protecting my own business, I don't give a cluck. I've made a campaign and it's working a treat. Don't let the chicken across the street.
So folks, get close. Let me tell you what my plan is. Tomorrow KFK come, I'm throwing spanners. When they get to their site, I'll have crept in tonight with snakes in my left hand, rats in my right, leaving mice, leaving lice, leaving stacks of skulls, condoms and needles and headless dolls. I got fresh manure, mixed in with soot, homemade top grade finger licking good. What's and that's a murder flies, Adam Sandler merchandise, rotten trout, fish paste. Whoops, I dropped some nuclear waste. Don't be shocked, don't look quite so stricken. This is raw, this is war, folks, and I'm not chicken.
I know it's not pretty, I know how it looks, but if KFK move here, my goose is cooked. I've got a campaign, so please share and retweet, and don't let the chicken
across the street.
Well, the question, as I'm sure you will recall, is what is the name of the 1970s television singer and actor who was accused by Hildegard of stealing her style and her look, particularly her long satin gloves? And the answer is Miss Piggy. Yes, it's absolutely true. Hildegard accused Miss Piggy of stealing her act. Now, Miss Piggy first appeared on a television special in 1974 hosted by Herb Alpert. Herb Alpert, famously the man who worked with the Tijuana Brass, and is, for my money, the man who gave the world the best Christmas album, even if Charles Bronson thinks otherwise. I think Herb Alpert's Tijuana Christmas album is about the only Christmas album I can stomach. Anyway, it was in a duet with Herb Alpert himself that Miss Piggy was introduced to the world in 1974. And the song that they sang together was a standard. And the question is going to be, what was the name of the song that launched Miss Piggy? And I'll give you a clue. It was more famously sung by Cary Grant. Now remember, Cary Grant played, unbelievably, Cole Porter in the Cole Porter biopic. But it's not from that film. So there we are, that's your clue. The song that Miss Piggy sang in her introduction to the world in 1974 with Herb Alpert was not written by Cole Porter. But what was it called? And we'll have another song from On Your Bike to give us a few minutes grace.
I forgot to bring flowers like a scallywag tyke.
He didn't bring flowers, which I really liked.
Well, flowers are a signal of the man's banality. Roses aren't a substitute for personality. We looked at the wine list, then opted for beers.
He commended my earrings.
And also her ears.
He did an impression a lot like the Queen.
I gave her a taste of my stand-up routine.
And I wasn't expecting a lot, but I felt the connection we
shot
got.
through the starters, just breezing along.
When do we get to the bit where it all goes wrong? I've almost forgotten the school trip he mentioned.
We went to the zoo and this kid stole a penguin.
He almost got home.
Then got caught.
And detention.
But he got in the paper. He's kind of a legend.
And I wasn't expecting a blast, but I fell for that smile pretty fast.
Past 11 and we're still going strong.
When do we get to the bit where it all goes wrong? The bit where he scratches his ass or starts sucking his thumb.
The bit where she calls me Graham.
Where he calls me Mum.
She reveals she's a nun.
He reveals he's not single. Reveals he's infected with genital shingles. Admits he's a Mormon.
Admits she's a Gorgon.
Reveals that Earth has been flat all along. When do we get to the bit where it all goes wrong?
Where it all goes wrong.
When will it go wrong?
I was planning to leave on my own, but I was suddenly taking her home.
Then a kiss at the door that was tender and long. What if we never get to the bit where it all goes wrong?
And there we are, another song from On Your Bike. Now, the question was, what was the song that Miss Piggy sang at her introduction in 1974? A song also associated with Cary Grant. Well, the song is I Can't Give You Anything But Love Baby, which was written by Jimmy McHugh and Dorothy Fields. And Cary Grant sang it in the screwball comedy Bringing Up Baby with Katharine Hepburn. Now, the song premiered in 1928, and the next question is quite simply, who introduced it, and what was the name of the show from which it came? And there are two possible answers to this, both of which I'll accept, and for which you can get imaginary points.
Hooray!
Redeemable nowhere. Who introduced I Can't Give You Anything But Love Baby, and what was the name of the show? And to get you in the right frame of mind, bearing in mind it was 1928, as I've already told you, let's hear a song which has been made to sound deliberately old-fashioned. It's from Mockery Manor, the thriller podcast with songs by Long Cat Media, who we know on this programme as Lawrence Owen and Lindsay Sharman. A show which was nominated for the 2020 British Podcasts Award for Best Fiction Podcast. Pop along to longcatmedia.com to start listening to the episodes. And this song is called You Are a Memory, allegedly on a shellac record, with the Alfred Mockery Orchestra featuring Max Vibrato singing.
I have a memory of a sweet rendezvous, and in that memory I'm dreaming and loving you. Are you a memory, or are you a dream? And though that memory may be imprecise, dreaming of you is to dream of a paradise. Are you a memory, or are you a dream? You're in my dreams as clear as the moon in the sky, but my memory seems to be hazy and grey, like the clouds passing by. And though that memory may not be true, I'll stay in dreamland and dream that I'm loving you. Are you a memory, or are you a dream?
There we are. I think that's a lovely song. Lawrence Owen is a very talented man. Go along and listen to Mockery Manor. And the question was, who introduced the song I Can't Give You Anything But Love Baby, and from what show? Well, the singer is easy. It was Adelaide Hall, a famous and rather splendid performer from the first half of the 20th century, and not to be mistaken with a venue of the same name in Toronto, I recently discovered. Now, Adelaide Hall introduced the song I Can't Give You Anything But Love Baby in January 1928 in a revue. The revue was called The Blackbird Revue, and that then transferred onto Broadway later that year in an expanded version called Blackbirds of 1928, which ran for an impressive 518 performances. And so that is why I would accept two answers as to the name of the show, because the Blackbird Revue became Blackbirds of 1928. Now, it's one of those songs that's been sung by a lot of people. As I've mentioned, Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn both have a crack at it in the film Bringing Up Baby. And Lena Horne did a rather more successful version in the film Stormy Weather from 1943. Judy Holliday sang it in the film Born Yesterday in 1950, and it was sung as a piece of atmosphere by the strip club MC in the film The Killing of a Chinese Bookie in 1976. But who sang it in the 1940 film starring John Wayne called Seven Sinners? And while you're pondering that, let's have another song by Lawrence Owen from his other musical podcast, The Ballad of Anne and Mary. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm feeling a little hoarse.
Freedom, oh, what a delight. I'm out of my prison, I'm going to Charlestown. I'm gonna get drunk, and I might start a fight. I'm gonna bet a man, a particular man. I got John in my sights. For a few sweet hours, I'll be free from my coward father's house. Is tonight, but just one night. I'll be a girl who goes where she damn well goes, taking a midnight ride in her father's clothes. My horse may be saddled, but she's running free, and she only truly gets to feel the rushing of the wind when she's with me. I'm gonna cut and run, for too long I've been a loaded gun, itching to fire on the shackles that keep me here. Well, no more, enough, I'm done. I'm gonna cut and run, I don't know a thing to anyone. I'm gonna cut off the anchor that weighs me down in a flash. I'll cut and run, cut and run. They were to keep me small, they were to keep me all polite. They were to keep me mild, keeping the bastard child out of sight. My father calls himself an honest man, a respectable man, but they're both twisted up inside. They dress their cruelty up in fancy clothes and politesse, but it is cruelty nonetheless. They keep their greed and selfishness disguised. They're keeping me weak and sick with this mock gentility, making me wear this mask of respectability. Well, I ain't gonna take it. I'm gonna be free to wear my rage and my pain and my cruelty and my joy for all to see. And this lad that I'm meeting is a pirate. He's the most exciting lad I've ever seen. Though he says right now he's between ships, he's no less of a pirate to me. And he's my guarantee, I will never be like them. I will be free, free. Ha! I'm gonna cut and run, live in liberty, I'm about to run. No longer trapped as a daughter in name alone, no more false facades undone. I'm gonna cut and run, gonna make a husband of that John. But until then, I will just have to be the stain on my father and stepmother's upright name. So I'll drink, screw and fight till they're red with shame, and then I'm gonna cut and run.
The song Cut and Run from the Ballad of Anne and Mary. Another podcast you can listen to at longcatmedia.com. And the question was, who sang the song I Can't Give You Anything But Love Baby in the 1940 John Wayne vehicle Seven Sinners? And the answer is Marlene Dietrich. Now, Marlene Dietrich is one of those people who I think had an amazing career and made a little go a very long way. But she was certainly a singer, and she appeared in a lot of musicals. And one of the last musicals she appeared in was the David Bowie vehicle Just a Gigolo, which was a 1978 film and was famously, and I quote,
an enormous flop.
Now, the show featured many songs from the 1920s, including Charmaine, a song written in 1926 by Erno Rapé and Lou Pollock. A lovely contrast of names there. And the song Charmaine is incidentally interesting because it also appears in the film version from 1950 of Sunset Boulevard, not then a musical, it is now of course with a score by Andrew Lloyd Webber, but in the 1950 film Sunset Boulevard, The song Charmaine plays in the background whilst Norma Desmond hosts a house party. And that film, of course, features Buster Keaton, who we've already mentioned here today. And in the film Just a Gigolo, the song Charmaine appears in the background during a dance at the brothel run by Baroness von Semmering, which is the character that Marlene Dietrich played. But the song also appeared in a 1967 film musical as a theme regularly used to suggest the failure of the central character's love life. What was the name of that film? Now, a couple of songs ago we heard a song that purported to be an older song than it actually was, and had been made up to sound like a shellac recording. Well, we're now going to hear a real historic rarity, which we played earlier this year in Musical Talk. It's a song written in 1843 by Michael William Balfe, and it's a song, or actually an aria, from his opera The Bohemian Girl. And the song is called I Dreamt I Dwelt in Marble Halls. And just so you can boggle, even though this is an old recording and there is a certain amount of surface noise, you can hear every word clearly. And the person singing is someone called Mabel Garrison, which is an excellent name when you bear in mind that this recording was made during the First World War in 1917. So this is a genuine piece of history, and I love it. I dreamt I dwelt in marble halls. There we are, Mabel Garrison, singing in 1917, I dreamt I dwelt in marble halls. But the question, you will recall, is what is the name of the 1967 musical film which features the song from 1926, Charmaine, to represent the central character's absence of a love life? And the answer is Thoroughly Modern Millie. And I quote from a review, the song is a recurring theme in the movie when referring to Millie Dilmount's, Julie Andrews, love life or lack thereof. And whilst we're on Thoroughly Modern Millie, you'll be aware that in 2002 it became a stage musical, and it interpolated a lot of songs from all over the place, including, and here it is, the obligatory reference to Gilbert and Sullivan and Ruddigore, a song from Gilbert and Sullivan's Ruddigore. What were you expecting? The song is, of course, the super speedy patter song, My Eyes Are Fully Open, reworked as the speed test. There we are. I feel vindicated. Ruddigore has been mentioned. Satisfaction has been gained. But the answer to the question was Thoroughly Modern Millie, the film from 1967, which of course starred Julie Andrews, and she went straight into another musical in 1968 called Star, which purported to tell the story of British musical star Gertrude Lawrence. And the show picks and mixes from all over the place, but particularly from songs from the 1920s. And it includes a couple of Gershwin songs, Someone to Watch Over Me and Do Do Do, What You Done 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 Before. But can you tell me the name of the show that those two songs were written for? And to give you a few minutes for the obligatory thinking time, let's hear a song from this year's Edinburgh Festival Fringe. The show was called The Emu War, and this song is called Army of Emus. It was a show written by Lottie Pearl and Toby Little, and on this recording you'll hear Lily Mohammed singing, supported by Lottie Pearl, Tom Brace Jenkins, Violet Morris, Ellie Spooner and Spike Maxwell. And the musicians were Toby Little and Tyler Pringle. Army of Emus.
Military division. With these birds we could send them on missions. They could face any army on the earth. They're like tanks, they're very strong birds. The capacity of bullets they carry is truly a fascinating sight to see. I saw a bird with 5 in its hide. It was just walking away, it survived. It had been shot by a bloody machine gun, and it was walking around like there was nothing wrong. I'll tell you what we need, I'll tell you what we need, I'll tell you what we need. An army of emus, an army of emus, an army of emus, an army of emus. They're as strong as a tank and as fast as a car. You better watch out, 'cause they're gonna beat ya. When we fire, they're as fast as a car, running close to 30 miles per hour.
All the bullets miss them in their hearts.
How are these birds so damn fast?
They scatter and run and clear.
Their invulnerability fills me with fear. What else can these birds do?
All these bullets, we've only hit 2.
Emus, an army of emus, an army of emus, an army of emus. They're as strong as a tank and as fast as a car. You better watch out, 'cause they're gonna beat ya. Imagine us riding on emus. The bloody Germans wouldn't know what to do. We'd be invincible, we'd be gods. An army of emus against all odds. If we could harness these God-given tanks, Mother Nature gave us our ranks. We don't need metal, we don't need bullets. We need the emus filling up our barracks. I can see it now, me running a battalion. Conquering the world with the emus by my side. We'd be victorious, we'd be triumphant. These God-given tanks would win every fight. Emus, an army of emus, an army of emus, an army of emus. They're as strong as a tank and as fast as a car. You better watch out, 'cause they're gonna beat ya. An army of emus. They're as strong as a tank
There we are, a song from the Emu War called Army of Emus. Now, do you have your answer ready? I hope so. The question, a simple one, was, what was the name of the show by the Gershwin brothers, which featured the songs Someone to Watch Over Me and Do Do Do, which were later interpolated into the 1968 Julie Andrews musical film Star? And the answer is OK, and that's the name, so it's OHKAY, and of course an obligatory exclamation mark, a show from 1926. And the book was written by Guy Bolton and P.G. Woodhouse. And this is interesting to me because I did not know it, it was based on a play. In this case, a play by Maurice Hennequin and Pierre Weber, entitled La Présidente. And I'm pronouncing that T on the end because there's an E. And isn't it interesting, because our very first question today was about that Hungarian play from 1937, which spawned in the good old summertime And She Loves Me. In this case, we have a French play creating OK. Now, this Gershwin musical was revived in the 1960s and added some songs from the Gershwins' repertoire, which they'd written for other shows, but in some cases with new lyrics, not by the still living Ira Gershwin. So who was the new lyricist? And I'll give you a clue, it's a name we've mentioned already in the programme. Time for another song. And this is a song from the wonderful musical Fringe the Musical, and it's called 17. Not to be mistaken with 1917, the year in which Mabel Garrison sang I Dreamt I Dwelt in Marble Halls. No, this is very different.
So here we are, this is better than gold. You could kill me with a smile, and I know you're on my side when the road is rough ahead. And there it is, you will never grow old. I know I'm not the same, but I know you're not to blame. You'll be waiting for me till the end of time. So turn back the clocks and I'll say that I'm sorry to when I was 17. You were enough, I was blind, and I'm sorry to when I was 17. To when I was 17. And so it goes. The sun rises each day. You were open to forgive. You desired for me to live. I'll be living up to you for all my life. So turn back the clocks and I'll say that I'm sorry to when I was 17. You were enough, I was blind, and I'm sorry to when I was 17. To when I was 17. All of my life, they say I've been lucky. All of those fights, I know I've been lucky. Lucky knowing you. So turn back the clocks and I'll say that I'm sorry to when I was 17. You were enough, I was blind, and I'm sorry, to when I was 17. To when I was 17. To when I was 17. To when I was 17.
Well, with the last question still devastatingly unanswered, we can resolve that problem immediately by giving you the answer. The question was, in the 1960s, OK, the Gershwin musical, was revived, but with some songs with music by George Gershwin, but new lyrics not by Ira Gershwin. Who was the new lyricist? And the answer, of course, is P.G. Wodehouse, who was a close friend of Ira Gershwin and had Ira's permission to do so. And for my money, they're technically fine, but somehow they do lack the quality and oomph of the original lyrics by Ira Gershwin. And one of the songs is called The Moppums, which was taken from the British Gershwin musical Primrose. It was renamed pointlessly The Poppums, and interestingly, Wodehouse reworks the concept, so it's more or less the same. It's telling a fictional history of a family, but in this case with rather coarser lyrics, which, even to my ear now in the 21st century, were a bit out of step with the 1960s. Neither fish nor fowl. Well, as I said, the show OK was based on a play called La Presidente. So let's carry on with presidents. We've already mentioned Teddy Roosevelt, but his near namesake, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, has also appeared in at least 2 musicals as a character, including I'd Rather Be Right, a not very well known musical by the marvellous Rodgers and Hart. What's interesting about I'd Rather Be Right is that there is a film about the making of it, and this film is in itself a biopic, a musical biopic. Not Cary Grant as Cole Porter, but someone else entirely. And yet somehow that film, which is a musical biopic of a great 20th century composer, is also the making of film of Rodgers and Hart's I'd Rather Be Right. What is the name of that film? And to give you 5.5 minutes thinking time, let's have a wonderful song by the peerless Sue Casson. And this is a song from her musical Two Tigers. It's called I Can't Get Him Out of My Mind.
Get him out of my mind. Each time he writes, I'm reeling from this dangerous feeling. I just can't get him out of my mind. I want him so. Couldn't know when I met him how far my thoughts would fly. Now I just can't forget him. Lord alone knows why. I can't get him out of my mind. He haunts me all day long, and when the daylight's gone, the dreaming still goes on. Can't get him out of my mind.
get him out of my mind. In every face I see, his eyes look out at me. I just can't get him out of my mind. I long for him so. Love like a burning fever has laid my senses bare. Blind to the man I'm leaving, longing to be there. I can't get him out of my mind. Should I lose everything for one more blissful fling? I know I'd go to him. Can't get him out of my mind. I can't get him out of my mind. Every admiring gaze, my silent hymn of praise. I just can't get him out of my mind. He's always there, counting the days between us since last we said goodbye, craving his living in us, wishing I could fly. I can't get him out of my mind, and through the glowing flame, the beating in my brain, I feel alive again. Can't get him out of my mind.
There we are, Sue Casson singing I Can't Get Him Out of My Mind from her musical Two Tigers about Catherine Mansfield. But the question was, what was the name of the musical biopic, which is also a making-of musical about Rodgers and Hart's I'd Rather Be Right? And the answer is Yankee Doodle Dandy, which is about George M. Cohan. Made in 1942, and Jimmy Cagney plays Cohan, coming out of retirement to appear in the stage version of I'd Rather Be Right. Now, as it's a musical biopic about Cohan, as you'd expect, almost all the songs are actually by George Cohan. Sadly, that means there's not much room for Rodgers and Hart, which is always a pity in my book. However, one song from I'd Rather Be Right makes it from I'd Rather Be Right into George M. Cohan's Yankee Doodle Dandy, the 1942 film. Can you tell me what it's called? If you can, you've answered the question. If you can't, I see that you're going to be leaving me to answer the question after this next song. And this next song is called My Favourite Season, from the Wellbrick Centre on Roswell Drive, and is written by Greg Van Kerkhoff.
Sweet musk of compost and petrichor, the smell of bonfires on the breeze, a patchwork carpet of reds and browns, pumpkin pie and crunchy leaves. Oh, it's my favorite season, but I can't find a reason to leave the house, let alone my bed. I wanna put my fears behind me, but the autumn leaves remind me haunt my head. It's so hard to live, but I don't want to die. Drown in self-pity, a chicken soup, or don a jumper and a mask. Wish I could step out the front door, stand in the rain, and leave the pandemic in the past. Oh, it's my favorite season, but I can't find a reason to leave the house, let alone my bed. I wanna put my fears behind me, but the dying leaves remind me of the ghosts that haunt my head. It's so hard to live, but I don't want to die. I know I've tried, but I don't want to die. To taste the auburn season, I need to find a reason to leave the house and face the breeze. Can I put my fears behind me and let the autumn sun remind me of the man I want to be?
Well, that was a song called My Favourite Season. And if it had ever been released as a single in the old days, it might have been a record. And that's a clue. Because the question, if you remember rightly, was which single song from Rodgers and Hart's stage musical I'd Rather Be Right makes it into the 1942 film Yankee Doodle Dandy, the biopic of George M. Cohan. And the answer is Off the Record. Now, it's not a well-known song, but Jimmy Cagney does a pretty good job in the film recording, where he plays the president who's talking to the press off the record about various things he's done, including the time he meets the British royal family and gives them American hot dogs with Coleman's English mustard. Interesting bit of product placement there. Now, when I mentioned FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, I imagine that if you know musicals, you've probably thought already about the much better known musical that he appears in as a character. And if that's the case, you will have an answer to this, the final question in this year's Merry Quizmas. And the question is quite a simple one. Roosevelt also features, as I say, in a 1977 stage musical, also inspired by the 1920s, incidentally. What was its name? And we'll have a final song to give you some thinking time, or just to enjoy if you've already worked it out. I think it's a very simple question. But the song is called Unhappy. And it's a beautiful piece of bookending here because this song is from Potty the Plant, which was the show from which we took the first song today. It's called Unhappy, but it always brings out the happy side in me. Here it is.
When I was young, my father said to me, here's the secret to being happy. Find a husband with money to spare. Focus on beauty and brush your hair. It made me unhappy, oh so unhappy. Oh, to be happy like you, like you. Oh, like you. So when I grew up, well, I searched for him. I tried Pete, John and Kim, but they were boring, had nothing to say. They just didn't know how to make my day. They made me unhappy, oh so unhappy. Oh, to be happy like you, like you. Oh, like you. All of my life I have had a dream to see myself on the silver screen. that was a pipe dream, it wasn't to be. So now I work here where I'm not seen. It makes me unhappy, oh so unhappy. Oh, to be happy like you, like you. Oh, like you.
Well, if you're looking for a reason
to smile,
I'll tell you the reason.
Once in a while,
it don't matter if you're big or small. I could be happy, just to be happy. Oh, to be happy like you,
like you.
Oh, like you.
But Potty, what is the secret to your happiness?
That's
oh. All right. No. Well, I've been looking to find a
reason to smile.
You've given me a reason
once in a while.
Don't matter if you're big or small.
I could be happy, just to be happy. Oh, to be happy like you, like you. Oh, like you.
Thank you, Potty.
There we are, Unhappy from Potty the Plant. And the answer to the question, which was what is the name of the 1977 musical in which you can see the character of FDR? And the answer, of course, is Annie, with a wonderful score by Charles Strauss. And that brings this Christmas quiz to an end. Fairly appropriately, because the score of Annie also has a Christmas song in it, in the same way that In the Good Old Summertime snuck one in. In the case of Annie, it's called New Deal for Christmas, and I've never heard it sung at Christmas. But that does bring us very nicely to the end of this episode. And if you've done well in the answers to this quiz, be sure to tell someone, as long as that someone isn't me. Do you know, I don't care. I compile this for fun, and I hope that you listen to it in the same spirit. But it would be remiss of me not to wish you, on behalf of everyone involved in Musical Talk, a very happy Christmas in 2024 and a wonderful new year. Let's hope that 2025 turns out to be a bumper golden year for musical theatre and films. And we look forward here on Musical Talk to presenting you with more episodes, so do join us again next time or whenever. And we close this episode as we always do, and as we open it, with a piece of music by Tom Arnold, an old friend of this programme, and it comes from his superb musical, The House of Edgar. And it has become our Christmas theme here on Musical Talk for these Quizmas episodes. But for the time being, I've got no other word but goodbye. So I shall offer it to you as a present. Goodbye. This episode of Musical Talk, edited and presented by Thos Ribbits. Copyright Musical Talk 2024, except for the songs where the copyright remains with the creators. And my enormous thanks go to each and every one of them for allowing me to play their wonderful songs in this episode. To find out more about the world of musical talk and listen to past episodes, go along to our website www.musicaltalk.co.uk or subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and follow us on the usual social media networks like Facebook, Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. And if you want to follow me on the latter, you can, at Musical Talk Thos.
This is Santa speaking. Oh, have I missed it? Oh.